Now we turn things over to Randy, where he's going to give us all the good information, scores, highlights, whatever you want to talk about from college football, all the many platforms, levels, border to border. I can't think of any more weird things to say. Take it over.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Let's start out at the FBS level with the top 4. And it was number 1 Alabama over Southern Miss, 63-14. It was number 2 Georgia shutting out Vanderbilt, 62-0. Number 3 Oregon over Arizona, 41-19. And number 4 Oklahoma over West Virginia, barely, by the score of 16-13.
Yeah, we watched a little bit of that game. Spencer Rattler got booed by the home fans too. That was a sight to see. But yeah, what a tough, hard-fought game. West Virginia should have been able to pull that out, but they just couldn't there, and Oklahoma got the win.
Yeah. All right. In another top 25 score, it was number 12 Notre Dame over number 18 Wisconsin, 41-13. This was Notre Dame coach Brian Kelly's 106th win with the program, surpassing the great Newt Rockne, who stood at 105 for a long time. Lou Holtz, several years ago, he got up to 100 wins. So you've got 3 coaches there at Notre Dame, all with over 100 wins apiece. And congratulations to Brian Kelly. I didn't think Brian Kelly had been at Notre Dame long enough.
It feels like
to have 106 wins with that team.
I know it doesn't feel like it was that long ago that he's been hired there, but man, get 100 wins. He's been there for a while because we remember him when he was the Grand Valley State head coach up here, just an hour north of us here in Grand Rapids, and then
did he go to Central? Was he at Central?
Then he moved up to Central Michigan, won a MAC title or a couple MAC titles with them, turned that program around.
Right.
Then he jumped up to Cincinnati, kept that. I think they turned into a decent program up there. Then he comes to Notre Dame. I think he struggled at first, but here he is. Yeah. Now they're in and out of the national championship conversation every year. So I mean, he's done something right up there. The dude can coach.
Yeah,
say what you will about his attitude in some of his interviews, but the dude can flat out coach and to outwin Newt Rockne at Notre Dame. This gets you a statue, does it not, on campus somewhere?
It might. It just might.
I think it gets you a statue.
Eventually, maybe.
Eventually,
not today,
as long as you don't have any crappy things come out about you afterwards, this gets you a statue. But also, this game, don't forget, this was at Soldier Field in Chicago. So this was a neutral site game where Notre Dame just took it to Wisconsin. And what I thought was funny was that we were kind of keeping an eye on this score because we were at the Western Michigan game this weekend. Right. But Notre Dame, going into the fourth quarter, it was 17-13, I think, with Notre Dame winning. So it looked like a close game. Then I go to check the score later, and somehow they scored, 41 points altogether. So what, a 24-point fourth quarter? I was like, what the heck happened to Wisconsin?
Yeah. But yeah, Brian Kelly, now the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history. All right, let's move on to some upsets. North Carolina State upset number 9 Clemson, 27-21 in double overtime. Let's see. Baylor upset number 14 Iowa State, 31-29. Number 16 Arkansas upset number 7 Texas A&M, 20-10. And I put this in the upsets. It really wasn't an upset, but we were there. We were there at this game. Western Michigan defeated San Jose State, 23-3.
Hold on, why is this an upset? Just because they were the Mountain West champs?
I did not realize that they were the defending Mountain West champions from last year. I had to find some place to put this in, and so it wasn't really
upsets. I wouldn't.
It wasn't really a blowout, but to me, it's kind of an upset because you've got a Mountain West team, champion coming here to Waldo Stadium in Kalamazoo, and they took it right to them. I mean, 23-3, it wasn't much of a contest. I was shocked that they didn't play better.
I mean, San Jose came out first drive, kicked the field goal, so that 3 points was literally on their first drive. Then Western had 20 unanswered with, mind you, their head coach was not even at the game. Western's head coach was out with COVID. Tim Lester, who we've had on the show thanks to you. He wasn't able to be at the game, but Western played a very aggressive game, I thought. A lot of fourth downs. I mean, it was a little windy.
Well, the defensive coordinator was the
head coach.
was the head coach for this.
And that defense played great, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of good defense from Western. So kudos to them, and I look forward to seeing some more Western games.
Yeah, a lot of fun at Waldo Stadium this past weekend. All right, blowouts and shutouts. We had Pittsburgh over an FCS team, New Hampshire, by the score of, get this, 77-7. It was Texas over Texas Tech, 70-35. It was number 10 Ohio State over a MAC school, Akron, 59-7. And Miami of Florida shut out an FCS school, Central Connecticut State, by the score of 69-0. Hopefully this is the last of the non-conference games where a lot of these schools get to beat up on lower-level FCS teams. I mean, these schools can use the money, the big payday from getting their butts kicked, but I hate to see them really lose by that big of a score.
It depends. Some schools, still schedule some patsies, and I hate calling them patsies, but they schedule these smaller schools throughout the year because, like, you have an Alabama who will end up playing the Citadel the week before they have to go play like Auburn or somebody. So, a school like Alabama will probably still have a cupcake later on down the road. But I think for the most part, a lot of these are done. Big Ten schedule should be kicking off and be underway. The MAC schedule's kicking off. I think they had a few games in the MAC, or one game last week kicking off the MAC play. So, hey, hopefully, I can't wait to see a lot of these conference games and get some of the who the big players are going to be in college, or in the FBS this year.
Right.
So
all right. Taking a look at the military academies, it was Army over Miami of Ohio, 23-10. It was Air Force over Florida Atlantic, 31-7, and it was Houston defeating Navy, 28-20. Now let's take a look at some of the lower level schools. We'll get a little spotlight to some of those teams. In the FCS level, it was William and Mary over Elon, 34-31. I always love talking about Elon because they used to be the Fighting Christians. And they changed their name to the Phoenix because everybody thought that they were a Christian school, but they weren't. That was just their name. So, but yeah, William and Mary over Elon, 34-31. In Division II, it was Tarleton State over New Mexico Highlands, 40-21. This was the only score that I saw on the entire Division II page on the NCAA site. There were no other scores. I don't know what was going on. And in Division III, there were not any scores for any of their games. So I had to go locally, and I found out that our beloved Kalamazoo College Hornets, Division III school here in town, lost to Alfred University by the score of 10-7. And when I saw that Alfred University, my first thought was, please let their mascot be the Butlers, the Alfred Butlers, Batman.
Ha 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 ha.
But no, they are the Alfred University Saxons from New York. So anyway, moving on. At the NAIA level, it was Bethel of Tennessee upsetting number 6 Reinhardt of Georgia, 34-31 in a real squeaker. At the junior college level, the Snow College Badgers had their game canceled with Community Christian, and all I saw on their website was the fact that the team just said they weren't going to show up, and that was the day before the game. So no reason given. I don't know what was going on. But for junior college score, we've got New Mexico Military over Kilgore, 37-27. Up in Canada, U Sports, it was Alberta over the University of British Columbia, 44-19. And in the Canadian Junior Football League, it was the London Beef Eaters over the GTA Grizzlies, 28-3. And I looked this up to see what GTA was, and I'm not sure.
Grand Theft Auto. It's a video game.
No. The team is from Toronto, so I'm assuming that this means the
Grand Toronto Arseny.
Greater Toronto Area Grizzlies.
Okay, I was close.
But if somebody's up in Canada and they know better, let me know. I could not find anywhere where they explained what GTA stood for, but because their home stadium's in Toronto, Greater Toronto Area.
Grand Toronto Architects. No. It's probably an architect school.
But London Beef Eaters, what a great name. They've been around for a while at the Junior Football League level, and I just love that name.
Yeah, it's a very unique name.
And that is it for this week's World of Football Scoreboard.
Yeah.